something more than groggy?
Yeah. Put the coffee on the go. That'll put us right.
Friday today.
Friday. Oatmeal today. There's more trouble as well.
What's that?
Friday dinner. Fish. That's all we have. If we don't catch a fish...
You eat fucking crumbs.
Yeah, we got nothing. Ah! Hey!
Morning.
Morning, mate.
How are your stomach?
Good. If it stays this clear, we should make for the mansion. Make use of the day. This is us leaving our 2-day base camp at the start of day 4, I think. Losing track of days. Where's Bellerin? Does he know about the rapids? He still hasn't died yet. This time. I probably wouldn't have laughed so hard if I had known what was coming. For the week of our trip, the water was very high, and as we approached Wheelbarrow Portage, we began to see the strength and surge of the river being created by the 2 waterfalls ahead of us. As the passage narrows, you can see the bubbles in the water as Eric fights against the sudden surge. If you look closely, you can see the swirls of froth that are created by big boulders just under the surface. Just off camera to the left is another waterfall, creating a second current that clashes with this one. And if you look at my canoe in the top left of the picture, you'll see it swing quickly to the left as the new current hits. As I lean to the right to compensate, the food barrel, which should have been secured, rolls with me. Only a couple of inches, but it was enough to dip my gun wheel just under the surface and then capsize, dumping me into the icy water. If I'd been on a solo trip, I would have had to choose between swimming to shore, leaving canoe, gear, tent, clothes, food, everything behind, or trying to stay with the canoe and gear in the icy water for a long time until it reached dry land. Either way, it would have been extremely dangerous. Luckily for me, I wasn't alone. Our DMC Aidan was immediately on hand to make a valiant rescue. His protective instincts kicked in, and without a thought for his own safety, he powered through the current to reach me. I righted my canoe and threw as much gear as I could into his. I held his canoe in one hand and mine in the other, as he battled against the flow to paddle us both to the safety of the portage.
This is the moment after the near tragedy.
We knew we had a long, hard day of travel ahead of us, so we gave ourselves 5 minutes to let the adrenaline wear off, and then got right back on the road. It turned out we weren't the only people in trouble that day. Half an hour after my incident, we saw a capsized canoe in the water with several people clinging onto it. It turned out the Eberson party had misread their map and accidentally been pulled down a very treacherous set of fast and rocky rapids called Nestor Falls. We guided them to the shore and were surprised and relieved to find that they were all uninjured.
This is about 20 minutes after they came down that, which is a set of rapids, and everybody's happy and alive. Nobody's injured?
No, we're safe.
Good stuff.
Just got wet.
We stayed with them until the shock wore off and they felt safe to make a plan and move on, but it highlighted the danger of the falls we were approaching. As we searched for a safe portage, Eric tumbled into the water. There are suspicions that someone may have tipped his canoe, but honestly, Ref, I hardly touched him. Then began the grueling mile-long portage. This leg of the expedition is tough enough, but my dunk, rescuing the Ebersons, and Eric's Iron Robin-like dive had all added time to the journey, meaning we had no time left for breaks. We had to push hard and fast. Hiking up and down rough terrain with hundreds of pounds of gear on our backs, hour after hour, really tested our physical and psychological mettle. By this point we'd been traveling for 8 hours, and all of our energy had been sapped. But as Eric mentioned in the morning, if we didn't catch some fish, all we'd have for dinner would be breadcrumbs. With sunset approaching fast, we had to find a safe place we could make camp before losing the light. This time it was Igor's turn to be a hero. With the rest of us ready to concede and have a hungry night, Igor scrambled out onto some boulders at the top of the falls and caught a massive bass. We celebrated like we'd won the league. 5 more fish followed in quick succession, and we knew we'd all eat that night.
Oh, look at that!
Eric, I need your help. Hey, I'm gonna bring it in here.
There we go!
Can anyone grab this? Alvarez, grab it back. Oh yeah, here you go. It's gonna flip though, so we'll get under it.
Hey!
Ali, hang on, keep that one on the line.
These fucking mosquitoes.
Hey, if you want, you can snip my bait. Now I've got one, I'm happy. As long as I'm on film getting one.
You got it. I never doubted you boys for a second.
Ah, you did. You did. We heard you so many times. Ah, that's a big one.
That's a beauty.
That's a big one. I'm going down. Let's go. Keep these bad boys up.
All right, let's go.
We found a fantastic campsite, built a huge fire and went for a swim. Eric and Aidan gutted the fish in our sight, while Igor and I put up the tents. We drank rum, ate a wonderful dinner, and collapsed into our beds, thoroughly exhausted and ready for a long and peaceful night's sleep. Or so we thought.